play for. Games this round have conspired to see them with absolutely no chance, Gary, of featuring in September, but they're doing a good job today. Just having some problems with Gary's mic, so Redders, it's you and I just having to push on.
First time that Gary's been gagged all year. It hasn't come before time, some may say, but we'll get him back on board in just a few moments. The Carlton Blues, they've got some work to do. Brendan Favola has the tracksuit top on. That's hopefully just an indication that he's emerged from the tunnel a little chilly.
Well, we'll see how Fev starts. He's already got 3. A man who starts and finishes well is Michael Roberts down on the boundary. Robbo.
Thanks, James. And just an update on Troy Simmons. It was a knee that got him in the temple. He's got a nice little mouse over there and a headache too, so not the right place to cop a knee into the right side of the face. Update on Terry Wallace. 2 kids playing in the grand final. The youngest one, undefeated all year, got knocked off. The eldest one won the premiership, so 1-1. I don't know whether that's an omen today.
That's a tough night at the Wallace house, because you don't want to celebrate in front of someone who's just lost a grand final, but he's got another half of work to do. And Troy Simmons, wasn't he instrumental in the first half, getting the footy out of the centre? Fev's got 3. Carlton are going to have to play out of their skins, you'd reckon, to rope in this Richmond team in the second half.
Second half in from the Telstra Dome. It's Richmond by 29 points. Simmons and French, the latter wins it down. He's claimed immediately, and we'll have a secondary ball up. Stevens a little slow to get to his feet. Has got the rinse put through in the last week or two, I'd suggest. Third man up is Tuck. Gets it out to Tivendale. He can't bust the tackle. Bit of a stalemate developing. And we'll have another whistle on play.
Well, Redders, I have been working all year on getting rid of Brian Taylor. I've achieved that today. Now I've got Gary out of the mix as well. He's gone. So it's just you and I for the afternoon, which is how it should be. Lappin around the corner to Simpson. Over the top. Bannister. A long way from home. In fact, we're already getting calls in saying it's the sharpest special comments we've heard for the year, as across the front, Tuck was very honest. Favola tried to go off the ground, was unable to make contact. And White now for the Tigers. Kicks to Simmons, who just continues to grow. Mentioned in all Australian terms for much of this season. He's having a sensational year. Betts. Lappin closed down. Deledio slapped into the turf. Koutafidis couldn't get hold of the ball, eventually did, and handed it off to Walker. Walker's sideways ball to Scotland, and Scotland tumbles it to Simpson. Simpson to go with the long left foot option. Walker at the bench. In fact, it was Fisher at the back, but he couldn't take the mark, and Rains was able to get it into the hands of a teammate in Patrick Bowden, and the Tigers are away.
Through Deledio from the shade to the sunshine. In space. Puts it inside the 50. Too much on it for Johnson. Stevens with him. It's kept alive momentarily. In fact, Stevens does very well. Inboard by hand to Houlihan. Slightly dangerous across the face of goals. Thornton, though. And Satanta. Looking for, but not finding Scotland. Now Tivendale can hurt them the other way. Richardson on the chest. And that raking left foot kick right on the money.
Righto, take a breath, you two. I'm back.
And standing between us like the Army General,
yes,
isn't he?
We are having a few problems. We're getting there. Now, that is what you're going to get with Satandro helping, isn't it? You get the excitement and like an unbroken colt occasionally. It's just going to make the odd blue, and it might very well be costly.
Well, we've seen the best and the worst of Richo this afternoon. We're right behind the kick.
There's a man from Ireland. You can cut him some slack. He's only been kicking the oval footy for about 2 years now. Richo down there in Tassie grew up with one in the pram and still hasn't been able to master it. So that is not a great advertisement for the game right there.
This is a very dangerous ball back into play here from the Blues. Double teamed was Tuck. Betts did well. Wiggins slides in. Scotland, some hard running. Look out. Tambling run him down. Deledio to Rains. Hyde. Johnson. Polo. Good pressure from Stevens on this occasion. Johnson went back and got it. Just a quality act, Kane Johnson. And Tuck has it on the wing. Looks around. The kick's beautiful to Tambling. Tambling can go to Stafford. Sits it out in front. Big Greg's got hold of the ball. No one comes at him. Gives him a lot of time to hit Schultz. O'Halpin, cracker at the back. Don't know whether he got put to ball. Looks like he didn't.
Scotland hobbling to the bench too, boys. Robbo to update us very shortly on that.
The Blues on the counter-attack. Wiggins returning from injury. Just forward of the wing. Finds Carrazzo. Open forward line for Vola. Worked off at Brunidley. Mark taken by Bowden. He's done a good job this afternoon. Rains and now Polo. Not much accountability once it gets past half forward and half back.
Stafford is on his own.
And that's where the kick's heading. The big man waits. He can go if he wants. Let's see what his work is like from tight angles. Not that good. Schultz, acrobatic but ineffective. It's out of bounds in the pocket.
Well, Barnaby French is Heath Scotland, who came off. He had an ankle problem earlier in the year, boys. Now, that's what it may be. Tamling's pressure as a small forward has been fantastic as well.
He clutched the knee, Heath Scotland, when he first went to ground. Interesting to see what Robbo can tell us. O'Halpin.
Nice.
Kick was good. Not sure Bannister's one-hand attempt was quite what the Blues needed. He goes back with a handball, but Tivendale closes the footy down. He's very dangerous by foot, Tivendale. Look to Kane Johnson. Stevens arrived late. Johnson slides in. Pettifer from the standing start. Kick on the way. Has missed to the near side. Fair to say, the first 5 minutes of this third term hasn't been stuff for the Vault, Gary.
No, it hasn't. They've missed some targets and fumbled and fallen over, so just a bit slow to get going. It was a very entertaining 21-goal first half. It might have taken a bit of sting out of them.
Blues have dodged a few bullets. Start of this third quarter. Houlihan kicking for Walker. Over the top comes Deledio. He spoils on the boundary line near this throw-in is Michael Roberts.
Heath Scotland, definitely the left side and the knee, not the ankle, the knees. Up and about, limping around now. They tested it for a little bit of a knock on the inside medial side of it, but he'll be okay, Heath Scotland.
Good work by Hyde at close quarters to Simmons. Thumping left foot kick. Well, Schultz has put himself in contention for mark of the year a couple of times, but hasn't come up with the footy. Stevens mops up, and the Blues are away on the outer side. Bannister heads towards the pocket, and for Vola, 1, not 2. And it's over the line for a throw-in in the pocket.
Just looking at the other end, Cracker picking himself up, got injured in that last marking contest. They just got to try to get it deeper, I think. Schultz and now Richo down here. It's just a positioning problem.
Throw in. Here we go with Eddie Betts to kick the first of the second half. He made the goal umpire work, but it's there.
Well, Eddie Betts is second goal kicker for the Carlton this year behind Brendan Favola. He's a small coming forward. This is at the other end here. That is just getting too close, or the ball delivery not deep enough. You can't have your tall marking forward jumping on the head of your crummer. This is at the other end of the ground straight away. The good thing about that from Eddie Betts is he's on the move. He's running a little pattern out the back, darting back in. Very hard to defend that.
Blues back to 25 points. Just on 14.5 minutes to play in this third quarter. And Bentic with some dash out of the middle. Puts it inside the 50. Fisher was nudged under the football. Polo goes to ground. Carrazzo. Tigers with weight of numbers. And Rains combines very well with Patrick Bowden. A couple of bounces. He's playing with plenty of confidence. Tivendale set free on his left side. Takes them on. Got away with it. And the Tigers pump it inside 50. Cracker caught underneath it. Brilliantly done by McGrath. Read it superbly in flight. Works through the corridor now. French, the Blues. By 25 points they trail, but they certainly have had the better of this last 60 seconds.
It's another indication your structure's not quite right when you've got a long ball going into Andy Cracker and your two talls aren't anywhere near it.
Kick by Houlihan. Carries the pack. Johnson was held without the footy, and he'll win the free kick.
And he might get 50 added to it. No.
Now the big three tall forwards for the Tigers are back inside forward 50. Stafford, Richardson and Schultz. Try and push this thing deep.
Kane Johnson, short to Hyde. Walks around at centre-half back. Long ball for Stafford, who's been given a big leg rope from Lance Whitnell. Lance not even in the frame. Goes to Tambling with a long one. 2-on-1 situation. Schultz back with the flight of the ball very nicely.
Well, what happened? Stafford comes out of the ruck straight away.
Jay Schultz slips it to Richardson, and the kick was good. Richo didn't take the mark. He wanted interference. Now the Blues have got a problem. Cracker's going to pick it up, give it off to Richo, and he's going to kick the goal.
Well, I put that down to Cracker and Tambling. Spoke about their pressure early in this game as small forwards. They were sensational. I thought the kick was a good kick here. No free kick, but look at this pressure. Cracker, first of all, will not let up on Carazzo. Gets a hand in straight away. Tambling on to Koutapidis. Forces a fumble. Back to Cracker, and Richo, all he does is finishes it off. But 5 of the 6 points you'd share between the two small forwards, Tambling and Cracker.
Some costly errors. The Carlton defence. And the goal, the result for Richmond. Back to 31 points. Bentic held a long time in the tackle. Simpson goes to ground. The Blues with a run of the footy now. Lappin with a couple to choose from. In short. Decides to go to full forward, a holding. And this time it's a Richmond free kick. The defender taken by Carazzo.
Good positioning, Patrick Bowden. Richard Tambling still down here, boys. He got cleaned up in a Shepherd from Wiggins.
Patrick Bowden shorts it for Hyde. The loose man on the wing is Hall. Across to Johnson, the skipper. Silver service delivery onto the chest of Pettifer inside the centre square. Richardson worked out of it by Thornton. Tigers fans want a free kick. The umpire having none of it.
Bit of setup though. They pushed those blokes deep into the goal square, and that allowed some space for Pettifer to lead up into. Probably needed to go a bit longer and more direct. Foley, Chaffey, Hyde and Howard all sit, all young, all got good legs to come on as this game wears on.
This has been a well-umpired game of footy, I reckon, Gary.
Yes, I haven't noticed them, Jim, so that's always a good sign.
They've done a good job, the men in red. Rains. Little ball to Tambling. Tambling to Tivendale. Wants his left side and gets it. Beautiful user of the ball. Out to Bowden, who is as well. That kick on this occasion. Just as I said the words, Gary, as they left me, I knew that maybe I'd made an error and I had the ball out of play.
What are you talking about?
Well, I said he was a good user of the ball.
Oh, yes.
He missed a bloke from 15 metres.
It's a poor decision too, that's the other thing.
Kick with Lappin. Now Hyde ducks and weaves. This is a talented package. Left foot from the line.
Look at Troy Simmons sitting at the top of the square with hands in the air, and Matthew Richardson with hands in the air. I reckon that's where that footy should have gone.
More than just hands in the air, Gary. The audio picking up some verbal stuff as well.
A little bit of encouragement, Redders, to kick it to them perhaps next time.
Yes, indeed, as Lappin strolls out of defence, wants to work through the corridor. A couple of Blues to choose from, and Wiggins takes the mark. He's celebrating the recent engagement to Olympic diving champion Ludi Torquay. Big story, breaking all the big stories.
Taylor doesn't bring those sorts of stats to the table.
Well, I was just overlooked for 60 minutes, so the kick to full forward. Congratulations, by the way, to them. Chance for Waite. Goes to ground. Good tackle out of bounds. We'll have a throw in.
Maybe just season over for Brian, the way that Mark Reddings is performing here this afternoon.
A lot of homework. Don't win into that, Gary.
No doubt about it.
Ball thrown in. Deep in the Blues forward 50. Worked down by Favola well. Rains. Caught by Betts. The snap. Walker just can't get to it. And it's through for a behind. Easy release here for Deledio.
Oh, I think that was directed at Brendan Favola from Andrew Walker for not leaving the full forwards position to pick the loose player up.
Kane Johnson. Again, the delivery sensational to Richardson. Long way from home. Got the two big targets in the square. Instead of that, goes with it. Just a finesse ball. Never going to work to Big Stafford. Cracker picks it up, tumbles it into the goalpost.
Yes, you did right. Just know your limitations there. But it's interesting at the other end. I hope we get a look at it again. That point was scored. Andrew Walker was stuck behind the goal line. Needed Brendan Favola to leave and go and pick up the dangerous player, and didn't, and got a fair cook along the way.
The Blues, with their backs very much to the wall here. Work it to the wing. Lappin improvises. Koutafidis has been quiet, but that one hand on the footy in his halcyon days, that was trademark stuff. They work it to Scotland. In turn to Eddie Betts. 55 out for Favola now. Is that his next option? No. More centrally to Big Barnaby French. What will the big man do? Well, just plonk it on the boot and hope for the best. Fev, can he get rid of a couple? No, he can't. And Polo releases Bowden. That's Patrick. Foley, very wide, but it'll bounce okay for Johnson. The captain goes to ground. Gets the hand pass away. Howard, just forward of the wing. Into the path of Tivendale. Oh, takes it beautifully. Wrong side for a left footer. Has a bounce. Tries to thread the needle and does it oh so brilliantly.
There's a lesson in that for Chris Hyde. Boys, if your left footer tucked on the boundary and you're not going to centre it, make sure you kick the goal. And he did. He was good enough. Backed himself in the end. Nice kick here from Cameron Howard. Just had legs on it, and Barnaby French is the man tailing in here. He summed that up quickly to Tivendale and said, I'm not in any danger of getting run down. Steadied nicely, threaded the needle. He's run pretty hard today.
The Tigers, comfortable leaders again. Beautiful running goal from Greg Tivendale. Walker on the up to Simpson, then gets it back. Good leg speed attached to this player, but some uncertainty as to what he's doing. Get free kicks for a hold against Scotland. Should Reigns off the ball.
It'll come back up here, shouldn't it? Because the ball was closer to the Richmond goal.
I would have thought. Anyway, Foley has it. Tivendale. Pettifer. Polo spots Richardson with a beautiful kick, and the sliding mark for Richo was terrific.
Yeah, it was good. Methodical build-up. I mean, this game's not in any danger of... So good position there. Thornton had good position. That's what annoys me, but he had a good position as a defender because that was the most dangerous place, and then went back and stood next to him, and as soon as he did that, the advantage goes to Richo.
Well, these are the ones he kicks.
Yep.
He misses the one straight out in front, 30 out. He's just as likely to slot this, Richo. Oh, back Gary! Right through the middle.
Well, I know this calling team seems to have gelled together very quickly. Brayshaw and Reddings has got a nice ring about it, it's got to be said. But very nice work from Matty Richardson. 20 marks inside forward 50 the Tigers have been able to take, and just 9 for the Blue Baggers. So they've looked dangerous every single time they've gone in there. And they can go in on the lead, or they can go in long and hard to the square.
The Tigers and James Brayshaw just finding range midway through this third quarter, and Richmond putting a big margin between themselves and the Blues.
Bit of interest in the Melbourne Kangaroo game. We won't give the score, but there's a bit riding on it too, Mark, so we'll just keep an eye on this one, obviously.
In-house stuff, of course, between respective Melbourne and Kangaroo people. Foley, another forward 50 entry, and being mugged. Richo earns the whistle.
Brett Thornton suggesting he give it to the umpire to pass back to Richo. I think he was intimating that he'd done everything else but kick it for him. But when you get the big frame in front, and I feel for Brett Thornton, boys, he has played out of his weight division since day one, that man. and he's played some good footy, but when he comes up against the big hulking monsters like this bloke, and he loses front spot, there's very little he can do. So hopefully over the summer there's a bit of relief for these blokes in the back half at Carlton.
2 goals inside 60 seconds living for Matthew Richardson. It's a big statement given his unpredictability, of course.
Oh, well, I tell you what, you've got Big Richo picked. That's unbelievable.
Never a chance as soon as I mentioned it.
That's a good kick.
He's kicked 3-4, Richo. It's just an unpredictable ball drop. And the results, you never know. This is a young man in his first game of football, Jesse Smith. Goes to Bentic. Back to Houlihan. McGrath in the centre. Lappin got Waite on a lead. The kick was good. Long way from home for Jared Waite. Favola the long option. He's kicked 3. All of those in the second term.
Lance is on.
Now he's got Whitnell on. And Cracker, the only man that could close that down. So it was a mismatch anyway. And Lance Whitnell kicked the first goal of the game for the Blues. Should convert from here.
Trying to see where the blame lies here. I'm sure he's not Andrew Cracker's man, but he would have to have taken him if he was the most dangerous option. I can't see. Maybe he's gone forward, Lance Whitnell, for a spell. I'm not sure, but what I do know is he's a beautiful kick of the footy, and you can put this in your footy record.
Early call. Oh, it's working back beautifully. Never doubt him, Redders. That's the first thing you learn. Blues get another one.
Whatever question, anyway.
No, he's heading to the back half, Lance. So again, he just timed it right. I think it's Adam Patterson, the young fella who he might be opposed to. Now that's a dangerous matchup for the Tigers. Not that you would imagine they're in too much danger of losing this game at this stage, but he was a fella that Barnaby French lost in some traffic and snuck into that hole. In fact, almost exactly the same hole that Whitnell just dropped into then. So expect Lance to take plenty of risks while he's opposed to the youngster.
So Lance Whitnell drifts forward. The veteran who made his debut back in 1997. Perhaps the next captain of Carlton. Simmons up to Rains. His 18th disposal. Richardson in front, can't mark. Whitnell scoops it out the back door. Well done by Patterson, kept it alive for Hyde. Now Tuck, standing start stuff. Wobbly ball into the pocket. Stevens couldn't bring it down. McGrath hard up against the boundary line, goes to Thornton. McGrath comes past again. And there's a free kick, which is behind the footy. Polo's holding his chin. And the umpire agrees with him. High contact. And Richmond have won the turnover.
Yeah, they've got one-on-ones in the goal square if they go quickly.
He goes short on the stretch. Cracker. All too slack the defence from Carlton, and he wouldn't back Lance to stay stride for stride with Andrew Cracker.
No, slack is the word though, Mark. Eddie Betts has wandered down. I'm sure he's not his man. Betts playing the forward line, but Andrew Cracker just ran into space unattended, and it wasn't as if it was a quick play. There was time to man up. I reckon the small forwards have been pretty good, Andrew Cracker and Tambling, for the Tigers. They've been in the right places and made themselves dangerous targets.
So Cracker, tight angle, 30 out, tries to ease it through from that distance, and doesn't find the major opening.
Gee, Kane Johnson's doing a number on Nick Stevens. He's had 6 possessions, Stevens, and that is all. Johnson up to 13.
It's almost one of those ones, Gary, where you're wondering who's tagging who. Betts.
Yeah, the table's turned right now.
Yeah. Johnson has been dominant against the Blues' best midfielder. Betts. Long to half forward. Koutafidis gets rid of his direct opponent with a lot of skill.
It's a mismatch. Chaffee and Koutafidis, one they can exploit.
Can King Kouta ignite the Blues? He sets sail with a very, very long ball. On the goal line, Waite has kicked a goal for Carlton.
It's probably the first sign of the Tigers' just total lack of concentration here. They conceded, these defenders, that this was a behind. Well, that might be a little bit harsh, but that man running in there with opposed to Jared Wade, had conceded that it was going to go through because he didn't follow in. He just didn't follow in for what should have been a contested crump.
Some treatment for Greg Tivendale, grimacing with that ankle, or yeah, he's not in great shape.
Oh, just there. Did he clip an ankle, or?
It looked a little innocuous, didn't it?
Yeah.
But certainly has twisted the lower part of that leg. And now it's Richmond back to a 34-point lead. Bryan knocks it down for Carlton, but Cracker swoops. Off to White. Now Hyde. And Simmons about to be run down, looking for his left side all support. Takes the latter option. Howard provides just that, and a pretty awkward bouncing ball gives Stafford no chance as we head downstairs to Robbo.
Greg Tivendale probably very fortunate to roll it right at the interchange bench. The left ankle, you know, he's a fantastic left footer. He's in a lot of pain here. They've set him up. They're going to try and strap it, but it's on the lateral side, in a lot of pain with his ankle.
Tambling ducks and weaves. The left foot kick will bounce in the square. The concession came from Brett Thornton.
That looked nasty, that ankle injury, didn't it? Look at him get trapped underneath. Oh, right there. Now, not dissimilar to Matty Maguire.
Great tackle on Simpson from Polo. Tigers fans wanted holding the ball, especially that man. But the umpire said there was no prior opportunity, so he'll take it and bounce. Simmons hacked out of the air by Whitnell. I'd say as good as a kick, but it actually was a kick. Dropped by Bryan. Beautiful handball, Koutafidis. The King will get it back. And Slower goal for the Blues.
Well, you never know with this Carlton side, who conceded Hawthorn a fair start last week and rattled home only to be denied at the end. But he wouldn't want to sit back, the Tigers. They wouldn't want to sit back and start to relax. Brendan Favola's barely touched it this quarter. We know what he can do in a very short period of time. They've kicked 3 goals in a row now, Carlton. That miss, not sure if that was part of the set play from the big fella there, Chris Bryan, but Cooter's just caught fire.
Here's 3 consecutive goals to Carlton. And there's a pulse at the Telstra Dome on Sunday football. Of course, they came home hard against the Hawks at the MCG. The similar task confronting them today. Cracker scrambles a kick to Ledio. Toe pokes about 20 metres. Here's that sweeper for the Blues, McGrath. Delivery is okay, and the big man White got down low and took it on his chest. They're starting to run now. Walker, not great delivery, but he's got some time. He can size them up. Across the face, Richmond. They don't want to concede. Bowden takes them on. Goes by hand to Pettifer. And they escape the danger. Cracker, forward of the wing. Open forward line now. Richardson comes hard on a lead. And puts him on his chest. And the betting here, JB, would be what?
Certainty.
50 out. Goes for it. It's close, slightly narrow.
They just go wide, don't they? Just being forced a little bit wide. They kick those 9 goals by being really direct and long. A lot of pressure on there, though, from the Blues. They are running well.
That Walker goal would have been handy, Gary.
Yes, then there would have been of some interest.
Wait, starting to get into the game. Handball off to McGrath. Good tackle for Ray Hall. Just couldn't trap it. Scotland tucked nice and tight and hard. Hyde. Handball off. Howard. Closed down by Betts. That's holding the ball.
Both sides have tackled well today. They have really tackled well, nailed a few big tackles. Just a goal here inside the last minute would set this game up.
Handball off to Houlihan. Steps around. Lappin can get it and go with only Stafford trailing him in. Low ball. No mark to Bryan. The handball astray. Scotland won a hard ball. Gave it off to Lappin. Needs to be clean out here. He was. Gave it off to Waite with a don't argue. Inside the 50. Oh, Whitnell dropped what he should have taken. Bentic couldn't claim it. The handball finds Bryan on the left.
Oh, 1 second on the clock. Now we have got a contest here. One second on the clock. They had 2 or 3 chances. You thought they weren't going to get there. That was one of them that slipped through Lance Whitnell's hands. Then this fella here, you talk about big kicks of the footy, boys. Chris Bryan would go yard for yard with Brendan Favola. The only problem is he doesn't get his mitts on it too often. That's his first for the day. But a pretty important one, Jim.
They're back in at the Blues. It's a staggering kick, the last 4 goals of the match.
Terry Wallace and Ryan Royal. They're watching their side. Under siege for the moment, just on 3/4 time, and that will see us out. The Blues with that late goal have a sniff for the Telstra Dome. This game is not done and dusted just yet.
Not by any stretch of the imagination. Just the Blues have got some self-belief. They've got goal-kicking power. They are capable. Can the Tigers hang on? We'll find out. 24 points the margin in favour of the Tigers. 3/4 time at the Telstra Dome on Sunday Football.
Every round, there's 1/4 of football that you simply have to witness, whether it be a nail-biting finish,
Blues have tied it up again.
individual brilliance,
Daniel Welch has kicked 4 big ones.
or 2 teams going at it like prize fighters.
Revolts has saved the day for St Kilda.
The Crucial Quarter, Monday, only on Fox Footy.
This Father's Day, it's all about him at Harvey Norman. Shop now for your chance to slam dunk your way to the USA. See the world's hottest basketball stars in action in the US city of your choice. All you have to do is win one of the 100 fantastic sports packs from Rebel Sport. Just make a Dad's Day gift purchase now to go in the draw. The family trip of a lifetime to the USA and one of 100 Rebel Sport packs. More reasons why Dad's Day is a winner at Harvey Norman.
Subscribe to Ringtone King as we give you the newest hits for your mobile. Get Justin Timberlake. Text new 32 for Sexy Back. Want Nick Lachey? Text new 31. How about the Dolls? Text new 30. And finally,
a good note. Worked for you. You went out on a good note. A couple of injury-free years.
Yeah, real good note. You want to finish on a good note.
Central Rewind, Wednesday on Fox Footy Channel.
Greg Tivendale testing out a rolled ankle as we get ready to start the final term. Can the Blues mount one last challenge at this Richmond outfit? They kicked the last 4 of the 3rd term. Scotland with a handball back to Houlihan.
Chaffee continues to go to Koutafidis. I wonder whether it's worth pushing him to the goal square at some stage.
Simpson. Little ball for Stevens. He's had a very quiet afternoon. Drilling low ball. I'm not sure if it was meant for Koutafidis.
Oh, hang on.
He took it.
Oh, one umpire paid it, one didn't. Now, what we got here is a situation where umpire Ellis
Bounce the ball, do they?
called play on, and the other umpire called mark. So I reckon we're going to get a bounce of the ball.
Well, let's wait and see. I think you're right. Have a listen to the Blues fans. Far from impressed. What do you do there? Do you go with the first one or the correct one?
I don't mind the decision.
Here's Pettifer. Look to Kane Johnson. Might have copped a little push from Eddie Betts. I think he did.
That's silly by Eddie. They've got some pressure on Carlton at the moment. They got it in the dangerous part of the ground, and you let Richmond off the hook by doing that.
Pettifer steps around and then sees Joel Bowden. He gets around Waite too easily and hits high.
Just short of the wing, gets past Bryan, gets the hand pass to Chaffee. Bowden steps inboard, delivers long, Plenty of Blues back in defence here, and Bannister uncontested. Goes quickly by hands of Thornton. Now Lappin, not much to go to. So he holds the footy. Floating ball. Well, Brian did well. The big fellow just eased it into the gloves. Cross now to Lappin. Not much room to work with, and as such, it's out on the full. The Blues can't afford to make those sorts of mistakes.
The good and the bad, Chris Bryan. The pickup was beautiful. Why he didn't then go looking for a Richmond player to provide Lappin with some shepherding and some protection, it's what he's got to get into his mindset. This is a little bit evenly poised at the minute.
24 points the margin. First couple of goals, particularly for Carlton, crucial. Tuck accelerates and drives in the direction of Schultz. Did he hang on long enough? Not according to the umpire. Bannister sold some candy, then went directly to Bryan. He held on. No mark paid. Blue supporters livid with that. And the whistle will be blown here for a bounce, will it? No. He lets it go. Scotland can't get out of their bets. Hand pass intercepted by Tuck. Now Deledio in a little bit of room. Alarm bells for the Blues. Richardson. Spoil comes from Thornton. A chance for Chaffee, the defender. On the lead, Stafford takes the mark, and that decision on the wing may well be scrutinised by Carlton supporters.
Yeah, well, Anthony Koutafidis is still over this side of the ground. Chaffee's his opponent, and well, whether or not it was a mark, I suppose, or a free kick even, remains to be seen. But this bloke's a beautiful kick of the footy, Greg Stafford.
6-3 this afternoon. This will sting the Blues. It's tight. It's there.
It's his equal career best, Greg Stafford. He's got 4 majors now, and that makes it a tall order for the Blues. This is the free kick. Oh, the mark, probably more to the point. In slow motion, it's hard to tell at times, and then the resulting play after the stoppage and scrimmage was Stafford got the footy and kicks the goal. So 4 goals to Stafford, 3 to Matthew Richardson, 2 to Schultz. 9 goals from your big men.
Good start for the Tigers. Simmons, Bryan did well. Scotland got a handball through. Deledio on the ground, and now we've got the book coming out. Simon Wiggins.
Yep. He must have come in charging in off the square and picked him off. There it is.
There's not a mountain attached to that, Gaz.
Just the, well, I guess it's not. You end up with about 60 points if you get to anything. 37,094 people here at the Telstra Dome. It's just one of those ones where you can't go charging off the square and cannon into someone in the back. I mean, but it's not worth missing a game, you would think.
Gone for a big barrel here. Brett Deledio, a big torp. Almost marked by Bannister. Picked up by Simpson. Wait, another half volley. Handled it pretty well. Got the handball off to McGrath. McGrath into the centre. Bryan starting to find some ball. Got the long-ranging left boot. He's got Favola out on a big long lead. Look at Fev cover the turf. I think even this is beyond him, Gary.
What about the pass from Bryan? Just a lazy 60-metre. Well, what you got now is you want Koutafidis in behind Favola because he's got Mark Chaffee as his opponent. So you go to Favola on the lead, and if you ignore him, well, you'd be pretty happy Koutafidis and Chaffee won out the square.
Got the darting eyes, Fev. He knew that 70 metres is a tall ask. Houlihan to wait. Oh, good mark in front. Ray Hall read it beautifully.
Very well done, Ray Hall.
There's a mark paid, so we'll have to go back to the Richmond defender. Works through the corridor. Rains. Possession winner on the ground, but he's coughed up the footy momentarily. Patrick Bowden left it behind. Hand pass comes out to Walker. He's claimed by Foley. And surely the whistle will be blown. We'll have a bounce.
Free kick they're looking for, I think, the Carlton faithful. Eddie Betts laid that tackle, a bit like Andrew Cracker on Chris Bryan just before half-time. I think they're claiming that there should have been a free kick.
Ball tossed up. Carlton, 55 out from goal. Walker over the footy. Foley burrows in. And they're quite content to force some stoppages in this final quarter, protecting what is a 30-point lead.
There you go.
Would suggest that their position on the ladder, which was, I think, 9th coming into today, is just about right. They beat the teams below them, and although they have had some good wins against others, that's about right.
Simpson back to Scotland. Scotland's kick. I think it was in search of Favola, but missed him by a long way. Joel Bowden. Pettifer with a break on Houlihan. Had Deledio by hand if he wanted to. Goes with the long ball instead. Stafford's kick 4. Oh, got him in front. There was Bannister. Look at Cracker. Front and centre. That is magnificent.
Well, the news highlight tapes always go for the big marks, but for me, that is the play of the day right there. And that is as good as any mark or any goal. That is hitting the ball at pace, front and square, Jim. Kevin Bartlett would have a tear in his eye at that, Mark Reddings. That is not least his old man. Look at that.
He's been threatening to do that all day, hasn't he?
He has. He's been in the right spot, and that is the reward. Get to the right spot. Oh, that's beautiful football, that. Beautiful.
Yes, a touch of his old man there. Andrew Cracker, of course, Jim, last night, as you mentioned, part of the 1981 WAFL Premiership team with Claremont, the reunion last night. And the Tigers split open the Carlton defence again. Spot Simmons, 45 out. It could get ugly.
It was as much a touch of his uncle, because Phil used to do a lot more of that, didn't he? Forward crumbing when Jimmy was doing the grunt work in the centre, but it's in the Cracker blood, Gary.
I know the Kangaroos as well. You can think of the pass at the minute, Jim, with our bet, but look at Troy Simmons. He contested the ruck and then followed on and is now having a shot. That's the athleticism of this man.
The former Demon, former Docker, very comfortable in gold and black. Left foot kick, it's a shocker off the boot. An absolute shocker, but it does the job. To goal.
It was a mung, wasn't it? Just a rotten mung.
Stephen Kernahan style.
Look at this. There he is. Simmons is jumping there, and now he's off and running hard into the forward 50. And it's unbelievable. There he is there. And I guess it catches opposition ruckman by surprise to see it. He can do it with some sort of degree of confidence because he's got other blokes that sweep in behind to cover for him.
The Blues kicked the last 4 of the third term to give themselves a sniff, but Richmond now with 3 in a row have snuffed that out, you sense. Walker. Long left football, no one home. And it's hit the behind post.
It just occurred to me that there's another reason why when you got loose men like Richmond have at the moment, got one spare, Troy Simmons can do that. He can run forward because if it goes the other way and their ruckman runs, well, the loose player just picks it up.
Big clash.
What is that, Wiggins and Foley?
Think so.
So the ball will be thrown in. Pretty ordinary ball thrown in too. It's all very short.
It's got to be a free kick. Surely to Carlton.
Brian took
Surely.
Possession of the Carlton ruckman, of the Richmond ruckman, I should say, but no decision. And Tuck's able to bring it away. His kick to Pettifer. Not sure that Kane was focusing as hard as he needed to on that ball, and therefore Houlihan was able to bring it back into Scotland. The Blues can reload. Whitnell in the centre. Call to go, so around the body. Koutafidis, bounce no good for him. Richmond players get in each other's way. Good tackle from Walker. And the ball will be bounced.
Jesse Smith comes onto the ground, replacing Simon Wiggins, who has had a tough day on report and nursing what looks like a shiner in his left eye. Patrick Bowden reads it pretty well. Hand pass, well, it was hit and hope. Simpson gathers and Favola, 60 from home. He just thumps it long. Not a bad effort, just misses to the right. He has got a wonderful boot.
Thumping range for number 25. Good kick in, finds Tambling. And here goes Brett Deledio. Beautiful kick. Found Chaffee, was closed down but can pick it up. Shovel it to Hyde. Hyde looking for Cracker. One out with Bannister. O'Halpin at the back. Little left foot ball. Dangerous. Prune just bouncing inside the Tigers forward 50. Tuck walks out of a tackle. Still they go, the Tigers. Chaffee at the back. Little underground handball. Howard with the left foot long one. Richardson at the back. Good mark taken by Thornton. And Koutafidis can go long to Favola.
He's almost at right half back with the bounce. Will he take them on? He goes it wide and then sends it very wide off the boot. Fev a little lost outside that 50-metre zone area. Just trying to spark Carlton there, Favola, but couldn't bring about the desired result, and it comes off hands. Rains on the sprawl, can't drag it in.
He's in good nick, Fev, but I'm not sure he's in the sort of nick that's going to allow him to run and bounce from centre wing.
The ball will come back to Joel Bowden, who has had a pretty good afternoon.
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job. I mean, sometimes you not criticise, but you don't rate him as highly because he gets a lot of touches, but he's beaten a quality opponent today.
Chaffee runs the full measure. See, there's 3 Tigers there. No one takes the mark. Pettifer gets a Shepherd from Hall, and now pokes it cleverly to Hyde. He can look up, see the goals, and pushes it well right. Misses the lot.
No helping to bring it back in.
Mind you, Brendan Favola has kicked 3 goals, 5.
Big Satanta, your heart's in your mouth every time he's got hold of the ball.
Throughout that left footer earlier on in the quarter, that was a Jimmy Steins special. Just a little improvisation.
That's the crowd Gary mentioned. Very good crowd when you consider where these two sides sit on the ladder. Inside the Richmond forward 50 again. Hyde, head over it. Couldn't take clean possession. They bang in. Foley, one of them. Tambling, extricates the footy out of there somehow. Then he goes to ground. Handball to Simmons. Simmons to Rains. Rains to Richardson. Back on the right side and just hoists it high. Into the square, marking player needed it. No helping with a big convincing fist. Over the line, it'll be thrown in. Richo. 3 goals on the afternoon for him.
Those marks inside 50 there. That is what has probably set the two teams apart at the end of the day, is the big tall targets that the Tigers have got.
Scotland tried to sneak away with the footy. Free kick again. This time Richmond come up with it. And Tambling was taken high. He'll be the recipient. The Blues led by 5 points at quarter time. It was the Tigers with a 9-goal second term, out by 29 at the main change. And the Blues reduced that to 24 with 1 quarter to play.
Oh, yeah. Bit untidy, Satanta. Only because he's trying hard. That's the only thing there. I mean, you probably cop that at this stage.
Richard Tambling. Direct approach. Off the boot. Just fades left. And his goal kicking this season hasn't been as he would have liked. Another behind.
He's had a good day. I reckon there's some big steps being made by Tambling and Cracker in particular.
Simpson's got a kick to himself. He's got Eddie Betts on. The kick's too fierce for him. Whiteheader flied it from the back. Betts kept his feet and did really well. Lappin through the centre. Again, he looks for the big target and finds Whitnell. Bannister over the top to the first gamer in Smith. Now we see Fisher from on the 50 can set sail. The kick never left his boot with any penetration at all. And Ray Hall was able to stand his ground, get it to Bowden, who kicks it to Bowden.
The brothers combining, as they have done so frequently this season. Koutafidis came from behind and took a very clever mark. He loads up. Well, they'll have to be good here for Bowler and company. And Fev arrived very late in the piece, gave away the free kick, or in fact the mark may have even been paid as Bowden works it across. Now Howard has control of the football. The young man through the corridor, and Rains loops it over the top. Patterson with those telescopic arms. Back to Howard. Roaming free along the outer side. Richardson looking for the free kick. Again, the umpire ignores when the Blues can clear. Across to Scotland. Back on his feet after copping a heavy blow earlier in the match. And now Fisher with a bounce. What can they produce here? Another sortie inside the 50. Stevens had a dirty day. And the Tigers work it out again through Patrick Bowden, Chaffee, and Howard again on the outer side by himself.
Long ball looking for Richardson. Gets him. Long way from home for Richo. So he sets it up beautifully for Pettifer. Just didn't quite get to him on the full. The snap to the top of the square. Stafford has had a big day. Kick 4. Well done, O'Halpin. Did brilliantly well. There's some potential there in that package, Gary.
No question about it, Jim. And he's got a big heart and he's a willing competitor.
Just got to be harnessed and he's got to be allowed to play, you sense, because it must be so tough when you're from a different country and you've never seen a Sharon before.
I would say at the same stage of his career that he's as progressed as Jim Steins, and Jimmy was playing VFL footy for Prahran, I reckon, in his second year.
And he went on to win a Brownlow medal and be a champion. Thornton inside the 50, looking for Favola. He's kicked the 3. Kane Johnson has been quite simply superb. Bowden, Howard, Tigers away down the outer side.
He needs to sit for Hyde, doesn't matter, puts his body over the footy and gathers. Now Howard's had plenty of the football in this final quarter on the outer side, thumps it to the top of the square. Richardson not paid. Walker mops up. Touch of circle work about this final quarter now.
Yeah, there is indeed. If you're a Richmond supporter too, there's a lot to like. Howard you mentioned, but some of the youngsters have really come on, and Andrew Rains has done himself no disservice at all when it comes to the NAB Rising Star Award.
Andrew Cracker deep in defence, and the Tigers link it up through Hyde inside the centre square. Another entry over the top. Tuck flew, took a couple with him. Foley, one-arm pin. Good tackle by the young man, not rewarded. Jesse Smith should have won the free kick, in fact, and we'll go to Carlton. And deservedly so. The first free kick, though, should have gone to the first game, who, by the way, is a cousin of Andrew Welsh, the Essendon player who played his 100th match last night. And Jesse Smith got a great day for the club, but I'm sure he'll remember it for a long time to come.
Eddie Betts. Kicks to Favola, was having one arm held. No free, Scotland. Picked up by Bentic. Straightens up and kicks the goal for the Blues.
Look, Carlton Ove, as I've said it throughout the course of the day, probably over the last couple of years, sometimes you looked at their side if you're watching their game and you'd think, gee, it's a lean time ahead. I don't reckon that's the case at this stage. I think there's some good signs here, and they'll continue to develop, get another quality player through the draft. They've got Walker, and these boys have had another year under their belt. They're going to be okay.
Adam Bentic with his 6th goal for the season. It's Patterson in the ruck, opposed to French. Comes to the last goal kicker on the match. Bentic sends it a little wide for Waite. Chaffee on the end of it. Waits for support, got plenty of time. And now White through the middle. Rains in support, doesn't need him, ran his full measure. He's off to the races, the young man. Long ball, Simmons in good position. All got hands to it. It was oh so close to a shot on goal from directly in front. Poor disposal though, coming out of defence. Leaves it with Tuck. Puts it to the hot spot. Again, no mark taken. And Carlton dodged another bullet in their back 50. No one to go to. McGrath initially was the target, but Bannister will clean up and the Blues can relieve the pressure.
To Heath Scotland, the former Magpie. McGrath out wide, needs the ball to bounce. That's what he didn't need, was for it to bounce back over his head. Slaps it for Lappin. Lappin goes to ground. Smith. Back to McGrath. Here comes Barnaby French. Short ball, no good. And Deledio able to chop it out. Looks to Tuck, who's been terrific. I thought he had enough of it. Went back and got it anyway. Tambling steps on through. Sets it out in front of Richardson. Thornton has worked manfully today on Richo. When you consider, Gary, the amount of supply that's been inside the Richmond forward 50, he actually hasn't done a bad job.
Oh, I reckon he's been great. In fact, I think he's had one of the tougher careers in footy, Brett Thornton, so I'd love to see him get a good crack at it at some stage.
Whitnell will take the mark after Carrazzo's kick was good.
You go and put him in, this is a man who's played most of his time at Carlton when they've been on the bottom or near to the bottom and had to play on the big forwards nearly every week. Imagine how much more enjoyable life would be if he was sitting in Adelaide or West Coast side playing half-back flank, third tall, you know, Adam Hunter type footy. Although Adam Hunter does take his share of responsibility too, but I just reckon he's had a very hard 5 or 6 years, Brett Thornton.
Lance Whitnell bends it back too much, and that's a miss.
So the Blues, after a very good opening to this match, kicking 5 goals to 4 in the opening term, have really been stung by the Tigers. Dangerous kick in, intercepted by Fisher, centering ball, taken down by Waite. One hand got up there and dragged it down, and that was unselfish footy. Could have gone for home.
He could have, and that's the other reason. You mentioned these two boys, Fisher and Waite, a few times, Jim. You get a good pre-season and a fair run at it without injuries and interruption. They are, mark my words, they are two really high-quality forwards.
Here's Waite with just 4 minutes on the clock. Shoots on goal. It's untidy, and it hits the post about a third of the way up. Not a good result.
How could you script, Gary, the last 11 years of the Carlton Footy Club? They won the 95 flag with a Melbourne powerhouse of the competition, not only on the field but off it. Since then, it has derailed in a way that Carlton fans mustn't be able to believe.
They are the recipients of the most severe penalties probably imposed from the AFL with their salary cap indiscretions. I mean, that draft that they were precluded from, on top of the state that the club was in financially, and there's one, speaking of former Carlton greats, Wayne Johnson now in the opposition camp, but gee, they inherited a mess, Dennis Pagan, so he's had some, I don't think anyone apart from those blokes know the true depth of problems at that footy club when they took over.
Deledio to Richardson. Mind you, Richmond fans will be watching this broadcast saying it was 81 the last time we saw any joy. In fact, 80. That's 26 years ago.
Well, you want to hear some fans whinging? Go and talk to the Bulldogs and the Demons and the Saints and the Cats.
Yeah. They're back up a long way as Simpson to Carrazzo. I think the fall from grace for the Blues goes further than just premierships, doesn't it? It's the powerhouse they were, you know, at the bank account. And
well, they went from being probably the most formidable group of all, and arrogant with reason, to being really humbled on and off the field.
Brian Long, Favola at the back, some holding on Bowden from Fev, and Joel Bowden will take the kick.
And love them or hate them, everyone I think would like to see Carlton back to being more than just the whipping boys. Kick through the middle's okay to Schultz. They've got some runners out wide. Taken by Joel Bowden. Well, silver service stuff onto the chest of Pettifer. And he can finish off the good work, which almost went end to end without Carlton getting close to it. Kane Pettifer just saw the drop punt sail directly onto his chest. With 2 minutes to play.
2 minutes. It's been a good day all round. Good day of footy.
Pettifer kicks. Tries to ease it through. He salutes the fans. And they've got another goal.
Had a good year, Kane Pettifer. Crossroads, I reckon, at the start of this year. The boy from Kyabram. But he's had a very good year. He's played, plays half forward, a difficult position. It is a difficult position to play, but I reckon he's got his work rate up, covering plenty of ground, making it difficult for opposition players to defend him. And he's got his career back on track and he'd figure prominently in their BNF, I reckon.
That's the lead there for the Tigers. And a good display from them. They were big winners last week against Brisbane. Big winners again today. Taken some steps this year, no question. Kick into the Richmond forward 50. Richardson, big body, just charges at Scotland, gets rid of him. Handball off to Foley. Howard. Looked like they may have found a player in him.
And White, also been impressive.
Richardson, handball off. Here comes Raines, the son of the superstar. Look at this go. Oh, that is sensational. time for this very talented young man.
Well, Jim, just give me your NAB Rising Star 1, 2, 3 and mark it as it sits right now. I'd be interested to know, because they've all put another tick next to their name this weekend, the big three, I think. Any time today?
Well, any time a player can run from half-back and kick a sausage from outside the arc, that is just brilliant to watch. I think he's got his name written all over it.
Oh, hang on.
Sorry, Gary.
Could we just be witnessing the NAB Rising Star winner for 2006, Andrew Rains?
I reckon he's in the mix right up to his ears. I reckon Daniel Pearce and Heath Shaw on Friday night also put a fair case forward. And Mark Murphy, let's not forget that boy's first half of the year. They're all going to be up there.
First goal of the season, and in fact for Andrew Rains in AFL footy. Fisher, hand pass across down to Carrazzo. In turn, well, miss by Scotland from 15, almost directly in front. Less than a minute to play. It is a very comfortable 45-point margin.
Going to be a good win for the Tigers. Richardson, as always, just some grunt running. Covers more turf than any big man in the game. Polo sees Howard. Too far out to score. He's got leading players on. Tambling's one of them. Got it into the breadbasket, but couldn't take it. Simpson on the up. Whitnell, perhaps the future captain. And he goes to Thornton as the seconds tick down. There's Anthony Koutafidis, premiership superstar for the Blues when they last won back in '95. Just signed for another year, as there's the siren. And the Tigers fans celebrate.
Well, that was an entertaining afternoon of footy, as McGrath has a shot after the siren, and Joel Bowden takes another mark and throws the footy into the stand, if you don't mind, up into a corporate box. So a souvenir to be taken home. 45 points the margin, only a couple of points short of their best score in 2006, which was last week against Brisbane. So they're finishing strongly. Mark Redding, thanks for wandering over here and covering for the big man. More than adequate replacement, I would have thought.
Absolute pleasure to be working with two of the best in the business.
Never take a holiday, Gary.
No, that's what they say, Jim. Lovely to work with you too, young man. You were reasonable today as well. 45 points was the margin of the Tigers. 21-14, 140. Carlton, 14-11, 95.
Join us on Tuesday. We have got a Rhodes Scholar, Mike Fitzpatrick.
Does that mean he's smarter than Doug?
Plus a man simply known as Nifty Nev.
From out at Essendon, Neville Fields.
Then join me for some classic 1987 action from the Fox Footy Vault.
That's your legendary Tuesday night right here on Fox Footy Channel.
If you don't know much about